What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams here on YouTube. In today's video, we're going to talk about something that a lot of new business owners worry about, but also I'm finding out that a lot of business owners, period, worry about when they're running their business, and a lot of new business owners when they're thinking about starting a business or when they start a business. There's really a list of things that every business owner has in common, and it's like the number one thing that's on our mind when we're getting up to run our businesses on a daily basis. And I want, excuse me, and I think that this is very important, especially for this time of the year, because a lot of people are going to start making their New Year's resolution, and maybe you're one of them. I'm pretty sure we all do it. You're going to be making those New Year's resolutions, and one of those might be to start your own business so you can start making money. You want to make 2024 the best year up to now, because you always want to make the next year better than the previous year. So some of the stuff I might go on the board to kind of give some detail, go into more detailed instruction. But I think that just reading out from my notes, from what I prepared here, will get your mindset moving in the right direction. And again, I'm telling you stuff from personal experience, my own personal experience as a business owner. I own a business. I've been self-employed business owner since 1990. So I'm not someone who just popped up, started making videos and went and grabbed some books and trying to tell people what to do. What I know from being a business owner, and this is what's missing with what's going on here on YouTube and all the other places, and why people who try to start a business, people who try to go out and start something and do it on their own, why they find it so frustrating with the materials that people provide, is because there is this gray area that when a person has not really done something is where there's going to be all of these traps. And let me just demonstrate real quick. If you start a business, this is you start a business and you're going down this and you want to get to making more money, and you watch someone who supposedly knows what they're talking about with business, and you start to do the things that they tell you to do, and then you run into a problem right here. You run into a problem. And if that person has never experienced how to deal with those problems, they don't have to go through the same problem, because your business is going to be unique to someone else's business. And if they're in the same business that they're teaching you to be in, and they don't know the answer to that, then you really, really have a problem. But if a person is experienced with business and they're coaching you on business, or you're taking their program on how to make your business work, and you ask them a question because you're frustrated about something that you're stuck at, and they don't have the answer on how you're supposed to go through the process to solve that problem, they are not really a business owner. All they're doing is selling you books and tapes. So let's get started here. And that's what makes me different. So if you want to know what makes me different than all of these other people that are selling courses, that are making YouTube videos or Facebook or Instagram videos telling you all of this stuff that they got and what they're doing, is that I really have what I say I have, and I'm really a business owner, not a fake business owner. So the number one thing that new business owners worry about is the startup cost. How much is it going to cost me to start the business? How much is it going to cost me to run the business? And here's a crazy thing that I learned over the years, is that none of that matters in the sense that you might be thinking. Because I've seen businesses start that had thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and they still went out of business. So you might be wondering, okay, so if they had all of the investment capital to do the business, what was the problem on why the business didn't work. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. It basically comes down to customers, but we're going to get to that. That's in this list too. So when you're thinking about starting a business and the capital that you need to start the business, what I want you to think about, what I want you to focus on is that, number one, is the business really a legit business that people want now and people will want in the future? And then another thing that you got to think about is that if your business is not something that you're going to make money on a reoccurring basis, then you're going to have to really put a lot of work into how you're going to acquire customers and how you're going to have customers be able to come back. Because those are some of the hardest businesses to have. Because if you think about it, if you sell a product or you sell a service and it's not a reoccurring payment, that means that essentially every month that you're in business, or really every day that you're in business, you're like starting a business. Even though your business is started, it's like you're starting a business because you don't have a guaranteed amount coming in. So if you don't have a business where you're going to be selling a service that has reoccurring revenues or something that has reoccurring payments coming in every day, every month, you are essentially starting your business over. Now, you may not be looking at it that way, but that is the way that it is. And that means that if you don't have a solid foundation, program, marketing system to bring in more leads so you can turn those leads into customers, your business can go out of business one day. You could just essentially, where your customers move over to someone else that might offer something that's similar at a lower price. We see that all the time. So the number one concern is that business owners worry about where they're going to get the money from to start their business, and then how the amount of money it's going to take to continue running the business. Now, the next thing that business owners worry about is market competition. But I will say that it depends on the level of the business, because I see a lot of businesses start up and they pay no attention to competition. As a matter of fact, one of the times when I started a business, I didn't even really pay attention to competition. I just thought that it was a good business idea. But you should always look at the competition. Now, I'm going to tell you that this is one of those things where if someone is not a real business owner, they don't even understand what I'm about to tell you here. This is like a gold nugget. There's two thoughts of mind, or two thought processes that you have to think about. If no one is in the business that you're trying to start, it could potentially be a business that people don't want, that people just don't care about it. There's been plenty of inventions and stuff that's been invented, plenty of businesses that have been created where people just didn't want it. There was one that comes to mind in my city. It's next to where I take my clothes for the dry cleaners, and I always saw the building. Right before COVID happened, they opened up this weight loss center. And I was like, that's a very good idea. People are always wanting to lose weight. So they had this weight loss center. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't know what happened with the business, but they opened up this weight loss center, and I can tell that this is a national franchise. And it never opened. So I was thinking, well, maybe because of COVID, people didn't want to come in. Something happened, maybe, it just bad luck. I don't know. But after COVID, they would open it up because it sat there until a couple of weeks ago. So from 2019, when they opened, which they really never opened, and then all the way till now, like a couple of weeks ago, which is 2023, November 2023, they just started tearing the place out and took the sign down. So it never opened, never got going, nothing ever happened. So what I'm thinking is that the concept of the way that they were going to have their weight loss center was just not something that people want. Like we've seen like Weight Watchers and Nutrisystem and all those. You don't even really see those commercials like you used to. Yeah, they might come around and, but it's just not like it used to be, because what happens with people is that people's education about something moves up. And especially something with weight loss, you will see that the best companies come around with these different gimmicks on ways for people to lose weight. It's either going to be with a diet pill, a meal program, but they're going to have to craft it in a way that makes it sound different than what people have done in the past. Because, I mean, if you've ever tried to lose weight, that stuff, you're going to be like, that stuff is what I've tried before and I'm not going to try it again. Even with going into the centers and all of that stuff worked before it, but it just, it might have worked a little bit, or I've tried it and it didn't work. Because it really, when it comes down to weight loss, it's a lot of mental that goes into it. So, but what you have to do is, a lot of people don't look at their competition. So one thought process is, if no one is doing it, you better do a lot of market research to make sure that people want that product or service. But then on the other side, if there's a lot of people doing it, that means that the door could be open for you. That means that people are there. If you got waves of people coming in and this is something that's on the upswing, then all you have to do is figure out a way to insert yourself to be unique so you could get a little tiny piece of that market share. You don't need everybody. You just need a tiny piece of it. How can you target that audience? How can you stand out different for your company over the other people that you're competing with? And will you be able to compete with those companies? There's the internet has made it better and easier for people to be able to compete with business owners, to be able to compete with bigger businesses, but you still got to have a plan of action to be able to accomplish that. And you're going to have to put in a lot of work to make sure that you're able to identify yourself in the minds of those potential customers, that you are different, and that even if you are smaller, that you're worth coming to over the bigger businesses, or even over the competition that's in your area. The next one is legal and regulatory compliances. This is something that I admit that I didn't really worry so much about, but as my businesses got bigger, and as I started buying my commercial buildings to be able to put my businesses into, is that these are some things that you do have to pay attention to. If you are not good at paying attention to these, you may need to hire someone, or if you have someone like me, my wife, she kind of pays attention to this type of stuff, where she'll look at it and say, hey, we need to do this for our to be compliant. We got to do this for our occupancy. And then with one of my, two of my companies have heavy regulation. Both of them from the state and federal level that we have to remain compliant on. And the best way to do that is if you're getting into a business that's going to have heavy regulatory and legal compliance issues, or things that you got to stay compliant with, you're going to need to have someone in your company that's going to take charge of that and make sure that the company is compliant. And then as you grow, you might even hire someone or hire out a firm that you can kind of have a go-to to take care of that. But most people probably that's watching this video, there might be one or two things that you have to remain compliant on, depending on what type of business that you start. Another thing that I've learned over time is team building and hiring people and retaining people. When this is a true story. The bigger my business has got, to where I didn't have to worry about bringing in business, the business is going good. It flipped around, and now what my wife and I concentrate on with all of our businesses is managing the staff, managing the workers. If somebody is not working the way that they're supposed to work, somebody is not coming in when they're supposed to come in, like that becomes one of the things that the business owner begins to have to pay more attention to than the business. That's why it's very important to have a system in place that brings in customers, because when your business starts to grow, if you're focusing on still bringing in customers and you don't have people in place that's going to take care of all of that other stuff, your business is just not going to grow. You're going to just be stuck where you're at. From experience, this is what happened with me. Is at first, my wife and I were out there. We were bringing in the business. Then we started hiring people, and they were bringing in business, and we were still also bringing in business. And then there came a point where we had a lot of business coming in, and we had to take more care of the inside of our business, the management of our business, the day-to-day operations of the business, and they took care of the outside stuff for the business. And then it got to a point to where we hired more people to take care of the day-to-day, and then we moved ourselves up. And what we had found is that when all of that started happening, is that we had to manage the day-to-day people to make sure that they were doing their job, and we had to also manage the outside people for the business to be able to grow. Because if you're doing those two jobs, your business is not going to be able to grow. Take it from me. If you are in your business doing all of the work to make your business go, like if you have an auto repair shop and you're the mechanic, yes, you might love what you're doing, but it is not going to grow. I have plenty of friends that own repair shops, and they don't get in there and do any of the repair work. They have multiple bays, and they have their workers do the work, because you cannot grow your business if you're the one that's sitting there doing the labor type work. It's just not going to work. And as a matter of fact, when I grew my business, so first, my wife and I were doing the outside work, then we started doing the inside work, and then we took ourselves away from doing that, and we managed the people. Guess what happened? Less work. And for years, probably about 15 years, I had only worked 2 days a week, and then it went to 3 days a week. And now I come into the office 4 days a week, but it's to do what I want to do. And one of the things is to make these videos to help you out with your business. So team building is very important. The next thing is product and service quality. This is another thing that I even admit that I have to pay more attention to when it goes to the new ideas that I come up with. Now, one of the things, though, that I've learned over the years is that it's better to get something going off the ground and then you work on it to make it better. Because I see a lot of people that think, oh, it's not perfect. I want to put this product or this service, I want to get it out there to the market, and they try to wait until they think that it's perfect, when it could be perfect in the customer's eyes, but you're sitting there just thinking it's not perfect enough because it's from your point of view. And so I see a lot of businesses, I'm like, man, when are you going to start doing this business? Like, well, I'm waiting for this to happen. I'm waiting for that to happen. I need to make this better. I need to make that better. Forget that. Get it going and then make it better as you start getting the business going, as you start making sales, as you start getting customers. One of my businesses, that is exactly the way I did it. The customer service was not as good as it should have been. And what I did is we got the business going, business coming in, don't have to worry about that. And I started focusing on the customer service. And what I did for customer service, this is what I did. First, I figured out what was the issues that we were having with customer service. So with my customer service, this is what the issue that we were having, is that we had too many calls for help, which is okay because that means that you have a lot of customers, but I had to figure out, because I would have to have 100 customer service people. So I said, what is the ways that we could deal with having all of these calls come in? So what I did is I got a phone system, and it was actually very cheap, only $100 and some a month. And I made all of my customer service phones, and I think we have 7 phones, so 7 numbers. And I just made it all, so when customers called any of our customer service lines, it went to this targeted number, to one number, and this lined up everyone for customer service callback. So it told them, leave your information, leave the question that you have. We're going to call you back in the order received. And then it went and got emailed to the customer service team so they can take care of it. This is how let me tell you how just doing this thing here fixed my problem with customer service. Because number one, it allowed the customer service team to continue calling people back. Because we used to have a problem where people were calling, customer service is trying to work with someone, and more people were calling. It was like, they can't even finish with the person that they're on the line with. So I said, let's stop the calls coming in, route the calls to this one number. That number takes a dictation of the message that the people want to talk about, the client wants to talk about. It gets emailed to customer service, and they just start going through calling people back. It helped me out to know that calls were being answered, because I could see when they clicked them and they're calling the people back, and we knew what they were going to talk about, so they were even more prepared to call people back and the calls went quicker. And just simply by doing this step here, the customer service callback issue stopped. Now, there were some other things, that enhancements that we made with software that really took our call volume down, because then the customers were able to know what was going on with their account. Like, we were literally getting 200-300 calls a day for that business, and it went down to where we maybe at the most get 20 calls a day. So again, with your product, with your service, it does not have to be perfect. You can make it better as you go. Companies do that all the time. So next thing is marketing and branding, your visibility. How will people see you? Will people be able to see you? A lot of business owners, what they end up doing is they get, they're posting and they're trying all of this stuff to try to get their company to be seen by people, and it becomes another job for them. But there's nothing wrong with doing that. You have to figure out a way that's going to work for you. Some people, if you're doing it on a shoestring budget, they're going to post and try to do things to try to get people in. What I tell people to do, if that's the way that you're going to go doing it, you have to find some way to track it, because a lot of people are doing a lot of that stuff and nothing is really coming about it, and they get frustrated and they're wondering why their business can't grow. They get frustrated because they're like, other people are successful doing it, other people are getting views, other people are getting this and that, and it really comes down to is you don't know what they're doing. I talked to a guy that had 1 million views on a video, and I said, how much money did you make from that video? I'm not talking about money from the video being viewed, because he said he didn't even make much on that too. But I'm talking about revenue, because I've had videos where maybe 2,000-3,000 people saw the video, and that video made me $10,000 worth of customers. So you have to understand and be able to track what's working and what's not working. You can have videos that are, blasting up to where there's thousands of views, but if you don't have some sort of way to monetize it, and I'm not just talking about monetizing for getting views like what you could do on YouTube. I'm talking about ways to monetize the traffic that you're generating. If you got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people watching your videos on a daily basis, that is a lot of people that you can pull in to target to see what you had to offer with your business. So pay attention when you're looking at marketing and branding. Don't just do it to just throw stuff out there. You got to have some sort of ultimate goal with it. I see a lot of people just think, I'm just going to throw my logo out there. I'm just going to throw what I do out there, and they have no way of tracking if what they're doing is bringing them business. And that's going to be one of the things that's going to frustrate you about your business. And then a digital presence. Another thing that a lot of people just for some reason don't pay enough attention to is their digital presence, your website, what you're doing do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a YouTube channel? Don't go overboard. You don't have to go overboard. What I say is just pick one, and then you just let that one grow, and then you can go into others if you want to do it. But you really just need one. Depending on the type of business that you have, you really just need to push yourself on one platform, and then you can, you'll be able to, get your business growing. If I had a choice, like if I was to say, if I were to go back to when I really start pushing to have my digital presence put in action, which was back in 2013, when I really figured it out, is that I would say the number one platform to put your cell phone as a presence would be YouTube. And the reason why behind that is because YouTube is the new TV station, period, point blank. I don't care what anybody says. YouTube is the new TV, and that's going to be for older people, that's going to be for middle-aged people like myself, and that's going to be for young people and even the people who are not born yet. The next thing is uncertainty and risk. So business owners, when they start a business, they think, this is like what you start to have those doubts in your mind. Like, well, if I started and the market goes down, if I started and, there all of this risk, I'm going to risk, my investment. I'm going to risk putting the money into this. I'm going to risk. Like business owners will think about risk, or someone who's looking at going into business, think about risk. Let me tell you straight up, the lower the risk, the lower the reward. The lower the risk, the lower the reward. That's what you need to put in your mind. So the bigger the risk, what you do, this is what you do. The bigger the risk, and let me take a quick drink here. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But what you have to do is you have to put more time into doing what it's gonna take to get that reward. See, people stay so focused on what they invested, what they put into it, or what I'm gonna lose instead of what I'm gonna gain. So don't look at what you're gonna lose, look at what you're gonna gain. If you go into it every day, you wake up every day thinking about what you're gonna gain, more things are gonna come to you to help you gain what you're looking at gaining. But if you go into it looking at what you're gonna lose every day, then all you're gonna focus on is what you're losing, and you're gonna get more of what you're focused on, which is losing. You're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose. Part of winning is losing. That's something that people need to understand. That's something that you need to understand. Part of winning is losing. If you lose, you know what you need to do to win. If you make mistakes, you know what you need to do to not make those same mistakes. If you make those same mistakes and you know what you did that made that mistake, then you have a problem with believing and understanding that you deserve what you are going for. Because one way that you can sabotage yourself is when you know what you need to do to become successful is that you don't go and do it. That is one way that people sabotage themselves. And people sabotage themselves for numerous reasons. You can sabotage yourself because you felt that you spent too much money already. So you're going to just start looking at the things that are wrong, and you're going to start doing more things that are wrong so you can just get out of the business and close it down so you can be right. So you can say, hey, I was right. I closed it down. That's it. Without really getting all the information to see if you were making the right decision. It's just your feeling. You're going to do what you feel rather than using logic to come up with that decision process. So understand that regardless of how the economy is, regardless of how the market fluctuates, if you have a system in place to bring in clients, bring in customers, that's what really takes away this issue, is that you will always be able to have business. Now, business is going to go up and down. That's just the way business is. But the businesses that have something in place that brings in customers, a real process that brings in customers, they always make it through these tough times. Next thing is adapting to technology and innovations. Everybody is talking about AI. Everybody is talking about, utilizing AI to do this, to make these types of tasks easier. And so I made a video not too long ago talking about an issue that I had with people when they thought about AI now, when AI has been with us for years, been with us for a long time. And I had said that if you haven't taken advantage of the AI that was available already, more than likely you're not going to take advantage of the AI that is available now and the AI that's available in the future. So in one of my training videos, I talked about it. I said, what are some of the things that, give me an example of AI. Someone had asked me that, and I said, well, email automation. And they were like, okay, well, they've known about that for years. And I said, well, you've known about it for years, but have you taken advantage of it? You've known about email automation for years, but have you taken advantage of it? And I was telling them email automation really changed one of my businesses, because I was literally, when I put this in place, and I had kind of fought it for years, like, does it really work? Like, this is what I was going through. Like, does emailing people work? And what do we all do every morning is look at our email, like, okay, our email, this is what I got from email. So if it's not that email doesn't work, it's that if email doesn't work, it's because what you're doing with the email doesn't work. And so what I did is I just said, okay, I'm gonna break this down. Like, whenever you have a problem, what you want to do is you want to just break it down into little pieces. Because everybody back then in 2013 was like, you need to make this whole email follow-up process. Like, you need to have an email for every day for 30 days at minimum. And I was like, that's a lot to do, to have 30 days worth of emails, to come up with what I would do for 30 days worth of emails. And I was like, okay, well, how about this? I'll just put 7 days worth of emails. So I did 7 emails. 7 emails is all I did. And I put in there, I didn't even have anything perfect. I just did, the first email was to try to get people to buy. Like, so from my ads, when they automatically, from my ads, they became a lead, and they would automatically get placed in my email automation to get information. And so I was like, okay, I know people don't buy stuff just straight off, like buying it off the shelf when they're online. There's a whole bunch of doubts that go into their head. So I came to the realization that when I ran my ads, I would generate leads first, and then I would try to sell them, because I knew that if I had them as leads, I would have more opportunity to sell them. So all I did was I was like, okay, I just changed one thing, because what I used to do is I used to run ads straight to my website. People wasn't buying. Like what we talked about with, well, that's going to be on the next one here about customer acquisition. But I was sending people to my website. People wasn't buying. I was like, what's going on? I got like hundreds of clicks every day, and nobody's buying. So I changed that, and I said, okay, I'm going to run ads. I'm going to get name, email, phone number, and then I'm going to send them to this email automation that I've just buckled down and said I'm going to put it in place. And I'm not going to do 30 days. I'm not going to go overboard, because if I think about going overboard, I'm not going to do it. So what I did is I just did 7 days. On the first day, when they became a lead, on the first day, I asked them to buy, like I just wrote an email to have them go back to my website to read what the information was about the service for that company, what I was offering, and would offer them to buy. Most people, 100% of the people didn't buy. And then with these leads, I did give them to my sales reps, but we'll get into that in another video on how this ended up benefiting my sales rep. Excuse me on here. With my sales reps. So I ended up getting some sales up. But let's talk about the automation. This is what we're talking about. Is that, so I sent, when they became a lead from my ads, they became a lead. I had a application, which is technology, utilizing a technology called Zapier, zapped that lead right into my email autoresponder application software that's online, more of the technology using email automation technology. They got placed on a specific list that I made, and it sent them an email right away. Hey, you just saw my ad, you just became a lead, you were interested, go back to my website to see what I had to offer. And I did it that day on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. I just did the same email every day. And guess what started happening? On day 7, people started buying without having to talk to my sales reps. And for that business, the goal that I had is that I wanted to make money while I was sleeping. So I would literally wake up in the morning and people would have already gave their money, pulled out their credit card, and became a customer of that company. Something else that I had learned from this, and this is something that people don't talk about, because a lot of people that I find that talk about this, they really haven't done it, is that during these different emails, these individuals that became leads thought that I was personally sending them an email, and guess what they would do? They would reply back with questions. So they would say, Steve, this is my specific problem. Do you think that you can help? And the more we got the same questions over and over, I was able to make the emails better. I was able to help my sales reps be able to talk to people better because they knew what they were interested in. And I was able to make my sales page on my website, my sales page, I made that better. Because if you're getting replies with the same questions over and over, that meant that even though I thought I made my sales page, very good, that there were still questions. It's like frequently asked questions. You ever go to a website and it says frequently asked questions? That's how they get the frequently asked questions. So how are you thinking about getting frequently asked questions from your customers? There's really only one way to do it, is to ask your customers or put something in place to where they would reply back, and then you can help them understand more about your products or services. And actually, what it actually also does, which is another added benefit by using this automation, is that people that go through this process end up knowing, liking, and trusting. So just think about it this way. If you are looking at buying something from somebody and you are really interested in it, but you just cannot, you just cannot figure out if it's better to go with this company or that company. And then you became a lead with both. Let's just say with one company, you visited the website. With another company, you became a lead, and that other company sent you emails saying, hey, come back and look at what we had to offer. Now, that's just level 1. There's ways to even make this better. And now, actually, with my company, I have over 93 months worth of content that goes by email, and I have a daily email blast that goes out for that one particular company. But just think about it. If someone is just sending people to their websites and the other company is sending them automation, what do we as people tend to believe? When someone that contacts us, even if it's by automation, we tend to know, like, and trust. Because if there's the only way that people really make decisions from businesses who don't have a process like this in place is going to really be on price and if they've seen them out there before a long time ago. You know, where they've just maybe done ads all over the city. Like the attorneys will do ads and they're on this channel, that channel, on this billboard. So people, you know, they're just like, they don't even know if they're really a good attorney. They just know that they see their ads everywhere. So they must be. This here is even a step up because you would be able to communicate and they would be able to reply back to you and ask those questions. And you'd be like, hey, yes, we've dealt with this before. And this is what we would do to help you. And that makes the customer feel like, hey, they're specifically taking care of my specific needs. So that's how you would use technology. And AI has even made this even better. With this same company that I utilize this with, I have another application where it actually does appointment settings. And with that appointment settings, it's an AI that is going back and forth, texting and emailing the individual. So if the individual emails back, the AI picks up on the email and replies back to try to get them to make an appointment. The AI asks me, if it doesn't have an answer already, it'll ask me for that answer, and then it'll always use that answer moving forward with other people who ask that question. So it takes the workload off of me, and the AI is working. So this is very serious. If you are not looking at doing something even with this smaller level, this is old school automation. This is old school AI. If you don't even have something like this in place, how are you going to take advantage of the new stuff that AI has to offer? Because you don't even understand the concept. Like you see AI, but you don't even understand the concept of why you would need to use it. And that's why it's very important to get with someone who understands this stuff, because if you don't, they're going to just take you all over the place. You're going to be spending your hard-earned money on things that people don't even know about. The next thing is customer acquisition and retention. Again, having a system like this in place will work, but let's just go into more detail. So I think that really this is the most important piece, other than knowing that people do really want your business, is how are you going to get customers? What I tell people to do, and this is counterintuitive because people, you know, we all need money, we need customers, we need people to buy today. But if you think about it, what you have to do is you have to be like a farmer with this. And what I mean by be like a farmer, that means you have to plant the seeds and let them grow. Across the street from where I live at, there's a farmer. He does corn and some other stuff, but he's also a milk farmer. And so you know that he has to get up every day, have to milk the cows, because that truck comes every morning at about 7 a.m. every day, 365 days a year. That milk truck comes and goes there. And he has to get that milk out, and then he gets paid later. He don't get paid on the spot. And then also when he plants that corn that's out there and the other vegetables that are out there in his fields, he plants that. He doesn't get paid for that when he plants it. He has to plant it with faith. Faith that, number one, everything is going to work out. And the only thing that he controls, the only thing that the farmer controls is to plant the harvest. If you, just like we talked about the risk and when we talked about how, let's see here, that the uncertainty and the risk, how that can get people to stop moving forward from doing what they need to do. Just think if the farmer thought about, oh, if I plant this and it's not going to rain. Oh, if I plant this and it doesn't grow the way it's supposed to grow. You can't go at it that way, because if you go at it that way, you're going to get what you think about. And so that farmer, and I've lived in that area for now more than 2 years, and he gets up every morning, him and his employees And during the winter, they are taking care of the cows and getting the fields, ready for the winter. And then during the spring, they're getting the fields ready and they're planting those seeds. And then they're just running their cycle again to harvest what grows. They do not control the weather. They do not control how good it grows up. What they control is the work that they put into it to get them to the goal that they want to be. And that's what you got to do when you're thinking about your business. This is a very important aspect of your business. And when I started doing this, it allowed me to, number one, grow my businesses with a feeling of certainty, because in a way it's like planting that harvest. But also other business owners started coming to me and they were like, can you show me how you're doing this? Because they'll see my ads running constantly. They're like, how can you run your ads constantly? I've had my ads run since 2013 nonstop, never turned them off, even during the holidays. And they were wondering, like, why and how are you able to do that? And I'm like this, it's like the farmer. I'm planting the seeds constantly. I want to plant the seeds all the time because I know that those seeds are going to grow to be customers. So the first thing that I tell people to do, what you got to learn to do, is you have to learn how to make ads. And I call them winning ads. How do you know if you have a winning ad? You know you have a winning ad because you're going to have clicks. And I say do it online, because unless your business does not work online, do it online. Now, depending on the type of business that you have, you might need to look at different platforms. But for right now, I'm just going to use the example for utilizing Facebook. So you will know that you have a winning ad, and this is about customer acquisition. See, a lot of people they think about acquiring customers, but they never think about what comes before you get to the customer, planting those seeds to be able to get customers. And I would even say, even before you even get to this, is that you got to have your mind set right. If you don't have your mindset right, when you try to do this here, you're going to fall into traps. You're going to quit. You're not going to be willing to do it. Just think about that farmer. If that farmer didn't have his mindset right to be like, hey, I'm just going to plant it. We're going to do all of this work. And it takes them hours. Some of the times they're there from morning all the way to like 10 or midnight, because they can work late out there because it's just fields. There's not too many houses out there, and they're on their own land, so they can work even late, sometimes even to 2 in the morning. So what if they thought, hey, we're going to do this and it's just not going to work? They get their mindset right, and that's what you need to do, is you need to get your mindset right first. You get your mindset right first, then you know this is what I got to do. And if you don't know how to make winning ads, don't worry about that. I'm going to give you something to where you can learn how to do it. But if you want to do it on your own, you're going to have to go through trial and error and be willing to make those mistakes. When you make a mistake, you learn from a mistake and you do it better the next time. That's what you got to do. So the first thing is, if you have clicks, that means that you have a winning ad. The next thing is you should generate leads. So if we're using Facebook, you should generate leads first. Remember what I had showed you about building out that automation. Because if you generate leads, it's going to help you be able to understand what your customers want. And if you have a business like mine where you can have people sign up and be your customer without talking to anyone, it's going to help you make money while you sleep. So when people become leads, you put your automation in place. That could be AI solutions, and I won't get into those too much. Email solutions. And I just talked about those. That's going to help you get your customers to know, like, and trust you, or your potential customers, your leads, excuse me, to know, like, and trust you. And then if you have a way for them to become a customer, then you can also send them to your sales page. If they cannot be your customer without talking to you or coming to your location, then what you should just do is you should just have a thank you page. And then it will let them know that someone will be following up with them within the next business day, or however you want to do that. But this right here would take away all of the worries about you being able to bring in customers. And then when it talks about retention, and we just talked about that with customer service, retaining customers is going to come down to your customer service. That's going to be the key. That's going to make you different than other people, that other business owners or other businesses that they deal with, is the way that you deal with your customer service. And you can rewind the video to see, to go into to review what I talked about with customer service. That's how you're going to be able to retain customers. Now, so this is the way that you would acquire customers right here. And then we talked about retention, which would be with your customer service. So now let's go to the next one, is scaling and expanding. Depending on what type of business you have, it's going to be, that's going to really play a huge part on the way that you're going to be able to scale and expand. With the company that I had put together the automation for the first time, that company was able to scale to all 50 states. We were able to do business in all 50 states because I had put this in place. And we were able to do all 50 states with minimal labor. At one point, but I had to learn though, because remember what I said, when you're working in the business, and then at some point you're going to end up working on your business. And what I did is I grew that team to about 20 people working for the company. And then as I had people in place, I started to understand that some people did not even have enough work for what they were specifically doing for the company. So then I was able to downsize the labor of the company, which enabled the company to be able to make more money. But that's what you're going to end up doing when you're not the one that's doing the work. So I had a system in place to get people who wanted to do business with us. I have salespeople in place and my website in place to actually do the sales. And I had a customer service team in place to actually do the work. And once I got all of that in place and I was out of the business to where all I did was look to make sure everybody was doing their job, I started seeing the things that I was able to cut and not need as much labor, and that allowed the business to make more money. And that will allow you to be able to expand. Now, I admit that some businesses cannot expand because they're very, very, very labor intensive. And some businesses, the only way that they're able to expand is to open up new locations. So you'll have to make determinations on if your business and if your mindset and what you want to go through in building that is something that you would want to do. The next thing, which is the last thing here, is personal well-being. And I think that when we're talking about personal well-being, is that if you have everything managed, where not perfect, but you have the stuff in place where you don't have to worry about how we're going to get customers, how we're going to get leads, like what is working to do that consistently on a daily basis. If you take that worry away, most of the other things will fall into place, because the other things are going to have to just be worked on to make better. But if you have customers, I talk about this a lot. If you have leads, like right here, just think about it for your business. If you had leads coming in every day, how much better would you feel coming in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? If you had a consistent flow of people who were looking to do business with you, I think that you would feel really good about your business, because you would know that, hey, it's not going to be a struggle. You're not going to be sitting there waiting for someone to come in the door or somebody to visit your website or somebody to call you. You would have something in place that pushes people to see your business and become a lead to inquire. And another thing here, reason why I love lead generations so much is that people are raising their hand. If someone goes to your website, they're just kicking tires, like they're just kicking. But if you go like this, here, let's think about it this way. If you go, because we went into, me and my wife went shopping this weekend. If you go into a store and the salesperson asks you, can I help you with something? And you say, well, do you have like these Boss stretch shirts? Where are your Boss stretch shirts? I didn't say I'm going to buy nothing yet, but in a sense, did I raise my hand? Like, I potentially, if that sells, they're right over here. That's what you're doing with this. But if I walk in the store and they say, you need help, and I say, well, no. Yeah, I might know what I want, but I didn't raise my hand. And I've noticed that the potential of me buying something, when I raise my hand to a sales rep and say, yes, show me where this is at, that almost every time I've purchased something in the store, almost every time, because there's a sense that we go through. It's human nature that when we raise our hand for help and someone helps us, that we feel, I don't want to say obligated, but we cross that threshold of, okay, I'm really considering something rather than I'm just kicking tires. That's what that really comes down to. So the well-being of yourself, the well-being of your business will come down to people that you had to talk to on a daily basis about your business. Calls to come in. People filling out forms. If you have those two, whatever business you have, if you have calls coming in, people coming in, and people becoming leads, and you were the one that got that to happen, so you're not like just rolling dice, hoping that, open up, and then you're just rolling dice. Your business is gonna have a whole different outlook. And when your business has a whole different outlook, you have a whole different outlook on the way that you feel running your business. So I hope that this information that I gave you was valuable. I believe that it is valuable. Everything that I talked about is stuff that I've experienced personally with my businesses. And this is stuff that you'll go through, and there's a lot of other stuff that you're going to go through running your business. If you have the goal of being able to understand how to, number one, have the right mindset, number two, to be able to create winning ads, generate leads, put automation in place, make a sales page, I have a program. The link is below this video. It's called Let's Level Up Your Business. So if you're new to business, this is a program that you're going to want to take a look at, because it's going to show you, give you a roadmap from day one. I'm going to tell you what platform fits the best for your type of business, because every business does not work on every ad platform. Other people don't tell you that, but I'm here to tell you, and I've spent for my own businesses millions of dollars, and for other businesses that I help bring in business, millions of dollars. So I know this for a fact, not theory. And then making winning ads on different platforms. I will teach you how to do that. I will teach you how to put AI in place. I'll teach you how to put AI email in place, and I'll teach you how you can make your sales page better, plus a whole bunch of other information. But I would say what makes my program, my course different than the ones that are out there is that I'm more direct. I'm more direct. I'm not going to fluff up nothing. I'm going to be more direct about you getting something in place to generate leads, because I believe that if you